Do you feel pulled in 1,000 directions? Is your mind a storm you cannot calm? The answer isn't to fight the storm, but to find the unshakable ground within you. Most people will never grasp this simple truth, but the key to your peace is revealed in the final moments of this journey. Watch until the end, because the last insight will change everything you thought you knew about freedom. Distracting world. We live in a time of incredible noise. It is not only the noise that you can hear with your ears, the traffic, the notifications from your phone, the constant stream of information. It is also a deeper noise, an internal noise. The pressure to become someone, the pressure to achieve something, the pressure to be seen, to be validated, to be understood by others. This creates a constant state of agitation within the mind. The mind is like a glass of water, and your clarity, your wisdom, is at the bottom, but the world is constantly shaking this glass, and so the sediment, the mud, is always stirred up. You look through the water and you cannot see clearly. You believe you need to find a way to stop the world from shaking your glass. This is the first mistake. You cannot stop the world. The world will always be the world. The invitation is not to control the external, but to understand the internal. The practice is not to build walls around you to keep the noise out. The practice is to develop a quality of mind that allows the sediment to settle, even while the glass is being shaken. This is a very different approach. Most people spend their entire lives trying to rearrange the external world to find peace. But peace is not a product of the external arrangement. It is a product of your internal cultivation. Think about the way you consume information. You wake up and immediately you reach for a device. You are inviting the world's agitation into your mind before you have even had a chance to connect with yourself. You are giving your most precious resource, your attention, to things that do not serve your well-being. This is not a judgment. It is simply an observation of a pattern that leads to a feeling of being scattered, of being ungrounded. You feel as though your energy is leaking out in 100 different directions, and by the end of the day, you feel depleted, but you are not sure why. You were busy, but were you productive in a way that truly matters? The constant need for more is a primary source of this distraction. More success, more knowledge, more experiences, more possessions. This pursuit of more keeps the mind in a future-oriented state. It is always looking for the next thing that will finally bring satisfaction. But satisfaction that is dependent on an external object or outcome is temporary. It is like drinking salt water to quench your thirst. It provides a momentary sensation of relief, but it ultimately makes the thirst even stronger. The distraction is not the phone or the news or the ambition itself. The distraction is the underlying belief that your completeness lies somewhere outside of you. This is a profound misunderstanding of where fulfillment is found. We have been conditioned to look outward for our sense of self. We define ourselves by our jobs, our relationships, our accomplishments. But what happens when those things change? When you lose the job, when the relationship ends, when the accomplishment fades into the past? If your identity is tied to these external, impermanent things, then your sense of self will be in a constant state of flux and vulnerability. You will live in fear of loss, because the loss of the external thing feels like a loss of your own being. The first step is simply to see this, to observe it without judgment, to recognize how much of your mental and emotional energy is spent reacting to the external world. See how your mood can be lifted or crushed by an email, a comment, a piece of news. This is not freedom. This is being a puppet, and the strings are being pulled by circumstances that are entirely outside of your control. The path to reclaiming your power does not begin by trying to cut the strings. It begins by becoming aware of the strings and the one who is being pulled. This awareness, this simple, honest observation, is the beginning of all meaningful transformation. It is the first ray of light entering a dark room. Inner temple. So if the outer world is a place of constant distraction and agitation, where do we find our stability? The stability is not found by creating a perfect outer world, but by building a perfect inner world. Not perfect in the sense of being without flaws, but perfect in the sense of being a reliable refuge, a place you can always return to. You can call this your inner temple. This temple is not a fantasy. It is a tangible reality of your own mind that you can cultivate and strengthen through practice. Every moment of awareness is like laying another stone. Every conscious breath is like sweeping the floors. Every act of choosing a wise response over a habitual reaction is like lighting a candle inside. Building this temple is the work of a lifetime. It is not a quick fix. There is no seminar you can attend, no book you can read that will build it for you. They can give you the plans, the blueprint, but you are the one who must do the work. The foundation of this temple is stillness. But what is stillness? It is not an empty mind. The mind is never truly empty. Thoughts will always arise. Stillness is the space in which the thoughts arise. It is the vast, silent sky, and the thoughts are merely clouds passing through. The untrained mind identifies with the clouds. It believes it is the storm cloud, the rain cloud, the dark cloud. The trained mind learns to identify with the sky. It allows the clouds to come and go without being disturbed by them. How do you practice this? You start with something very simple: your breath. Your breath is always with you. It is the anchor that connects your mind to your body and your body to the present moment. The past is a memory. The future is a projection. The only place where life is actually happening is right here, right now, and the breath is your gateway to this moment. When you feel your mind being pulled into the chaos of the world, you can consciously choose to bring your attention back to the sensation of your breathing, the feeling of the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then leaving your body in and out. This simple act is incredibly powerful. Each time you do this, you are strengthening your ability to direct your attention. Attention is like a muscle. If you do not train it, it will be weak, it will be pulled this way and that by any passing distraction. But if you train it day after day by consistently bringing it back to a single point of focus, like the breath, it becomes strong and stable. This is the essence of meditation. It is not about stopping thoughts, it is about training attention. And with a trained attention, you have a choice. You can choose where to place your focus. You are no longer a slave to the loudest noise in the room or the most pressing anxiety in your mind. This inner temple is your sanctuary. It is a place of profound peace that exists within you, regardless of what is happening outside of you. Your boss can be yelling, your relationship can be in turmoil, the world can seem to be falling apart, but you can always take a breath and return to the inner temple. From this place of stillness, you can then look at the situation with clarity. You are no longer reacting from a place of fear or anger. You are responding from a place of wisdom and stability. Your actions become more effective, more compassionate, because they are not born from the agitation of the moment. They are born from the deep silence of your own being. This is self-mastery, not the mastery of others, but the mastery of oneself. When you have this inner refuge, your relationship with the outer world changes. You no longer need it to be a certain way for you to be okay. You can participate in the world, you can work, you can love, you can engage fully in life, but you are not dependent on it for your inner peace. Your happiness is no longer a fragile thing that can be shattered by external events. It becomes a deep, abiding state of being that you carry with you everywhere you go. You have built a home inside yourself, and because of that, you are at home everywhere in the world. This is the true meaning of security. It is not found in a bank account or a fortress. It is found in the unshakable stillness of your own heart. Purposeful struggle. There is a common belief in modern culture that the ideal life is a life without any problems, a life of comfort, ease, and constant pleasure. We are taught to avoid discomfort at all costs. If something is difficult, we are told to find an easier way. If something is painful, we are told to numb it. This desire to escape from all forms of struggle is one of the greatest obstacles to our own growth. It is a profound misunderstanding of how we, as human beings, develop strength, resilience, and wisdom. The path to a meaningful life is not a path around the struggle. It is a path directly through it. But it must be a purposeful struggle. Think of a muscle. How does a muscle grow stronger? It grows stronger only when it is put under stress. You must lift a weight that is heavy. You must push the muscle to its point of failure. In that moment of struggle, tiny micro tears occur in the muscle fibers. And it is in the process of repairing these tears that the muscle becomes stronger than it was before. If you only ever lift weights that are light and easy, your muscles will never grow. It is the resistance, the struggle itself, that is the catalyst for growth. The mind and the spirit are exactly the same. They do not grow in comfort. They grow when they are challenged. In our tradition, we have a concept that can be translated as eating bitterness. It does not mean seeking out suffering for its own sake. That is masochism. It means willingly and consciously embracing the necessary difficulties of life because you understand their transformative power. It means choosing to do the hard thing, not because you enjoy the pain, but because you value the strength that is forged in the fire of that pain. When you are faced with a difficult task, a challenging conversation, or a period of personal hardship, you have a choice. You can resist it, complain about it, and try to escape it. This creates a second layer of suffering, the suffering of resistance. Or you can accept it. You can say, this is here now. This is my reality in this moment. How can I use this to become stronger? What is this situation here to teach me? This shift in mindset is everything. It transforms the obstacle from a barrier into a teacher. It changes the poison into medicine. The struggle itself does not change, but your relationship to it changes completely. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You become an active participant in your own evolution. You are using the raw material of your life, both the pleasant and the unpleasant, to build your inner temple, to strengthen your spirit. This is why discipline is so important. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the structure that allows you to engage in purposeful struggle consistently. Waking up early to meditate when you would rather stay in bed is a form of purposeful struggle. Practicing your craft when you do not feel inspired is a form of purposeful struggle. Choosing to listen with an open heart to someone you disagree with instead of immediately reacting is a form of purposeful struggle. These small daily acts of discipline are like lifting weights for your spirit. Each one makes you a little stronger, a little more resilient. Over time, your capacity for handling difficulty expands. The things that used to overwhelm you no longer have the same power. You develop a deep, quiet confidence in your ability to meet whatever life brings to your door. This is not arrogance. It is a grounded trust in the strength you have built within yourself. You stop fearing the storms of life because you know that you are not a fragile boat that will be tossed and broken. You are the deep ocean, which can hold any storm on its surface and remain calm and undisturbed in its depths. The struggle is the path. Do not run from it. Embrace it with purpose, and it will reveal a strength in you that you never knew you possessed. Unbound self. So what is the result of all of this? What happens when you learn to let the sediment settle in your mind, when you build your inner temple, and when you learn to use struggle as a tool for growth? You arrive at a state that we can call the unbound self. This is the ultimate freedom, but we must be very clear about what this freedom is. In the modern world, freedom is often defined as the ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want. The freedom to satisfy every desire, to follow every impulse. This is not true freedom. This is actually a form of slavery. It is slavery to your own likes and dislikes, your own attachments and aversions. If you are only happy when you get what you want, and you are unhappy when you do not, then you are a slave to your desires. Your peace is constantly being held hostage by external circumstances. True freedom, the freedom of the unbound self, is not the freedom to control the world around you. It is the freedom from being controlled by the world within you. It is the freedom from the tyranny of your own reactive mind. It is when you are no longer pushed and pulled by your own thoughts and emotions. You can experience anger, but you are not the anger. You can experience desire, but you are not the desire. You can experience fear, but you are not the fear. You become the spacious awareness in which all of these experiences arise and pass away. The unbound self is like a great mountain. The weather around the mountain is always changing. Sometimes it is sunny and beautiful. Sometimes there are violent storms, rain and snow, but the mountain itself is not affected. The mountain does not become the storm. The mountain simply is. It remains stable, grounded and present, allowing all the weather patterns to play out on its surface. To cultivate the unbound self is to become the mountain. Your thoughts, emotions, and life circumstances are the weather. You learn to rest in your own being, unshakable and serene, regardless of the forecast. This state is not something that is reserved for a special few. It is the natural state of every human being. It is who you are beneath all the layers of conditioning, all the beliefs, all the identities you have collected throughout your life. The work is not to become someone new. The work is to unbecome everything that you are not. It is a process of letting go of the need for approval, letting go of your attachment to outcomes, letting go of your story about who you are and what your life should be like. With each thing you let go of, you become lighter, you become more free. This freedom expresses itself as a profound sense of ease and flow with life. You stop resisting reality. You stop arguing with what is. This does not mean you become passive. It means your actions come from a place of deep alignment with the present moment, rather than from a place of resistance to it. You do what needs to be done with a clear mind and an open heart. You can engage with the world's problems with great passion and energy, but you are not attached to the results. Your contribution is your practice. The outcome is not your concern. This releases a tremendous amount of energy that was previously wasted on worry, anxiety, and fear. You begin to see the interconnectedness of all things. You realize that the separation between you and the rest of the world is an illusion created by the mind. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. This brings a deep sense of compassion for yourself and for all others. You understand that everyone is fighting their own battle. Everyone is struggling in their own way. Your interactions become infused with a kindness and a patience that was not possible when you were trapped in your own small story. The unbound self is not selfish. It is the gateway to a love that is unconditional and boundless, because it is no longer based on what you can get, but on the simple, joyful recognition of the shared being in all. This is the journey. From the scattered mind, lost in the distracting world, to the quiet mind, resting in the inner temple. From the avoidance of struggle to the purposeful embrace of it as a path to strength. And finally, to the realization of the unbound self, the discovery of the profound, unshakable peace and freedom that was always already here, waiting patiently beneath the surface of the storm. The path is simple, but it is not easy. It requires commitment, it requires patience, and it requires a gentle but persistent effort. Do not be discouraged if you falter. Simply begin again. Each breath is a new beginning. Each moment is an opportunity to come home to yourself. The journey is not to a destination somewhere in the future. The practice is to arrive fully in the here and now. This is where your life is. This is where your freedom is. I had to pause the video multiple times just to breathe and let these words sink in. The part about the inner temple and how every conscious breath is like sweeping the floors. That completely changed my perspective on meditation. I always thought I was failing because my mind was busy. Now I see that just returning to the breath is the work. Thank you for this. I feel like I can finally start building my own peace.